Hello and welcome. I'm Erica Latrice, and this is your new beginning. I say all the time, my passion, my purpose is helping you to live yours. And today's message, I believe it's going to be a short one. My prayer is that it encourages you if you feel like it's too late, if you've been feeling like you missed the opportunity, if you've been feeling like there's no way that you're going to be able to finish and bring things to completion in the way that you imagined. You are not too late. You have not missed your opportunity. And that's what I want to talk to you about today and encourage you on today. So if you do want to read along with me, I'll be reading from Galatians 6. Galatians 6. So you can go grab that. We'll have just a second. And by the way, if you're watching this, the best way that you can support is share this right now. Hit like or comment. Well, you probably don't have to comment yet because you probably want to hear the message. But as you're listening to this, the best way that you can support is just by interacting with each video so that we can reach as many people as possible that need a word of encouragement today. But I'll be right back. Again, we're reading from Galatians 6, and I'm so excited about this message, as you can see, because I know that many of us sometimes we just need this simple reminder, and it keeps popping up to me. So I know that it is for someone specific out there that's ready to throw in the towel. This message is for you. Galatians 6:9, and it reminds us of something that I feel like we all need a reminder of from time to time, and that is let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Do not grow weary. This is a message I know I've shared before. This is one of the verses that I share often, and it's because we need this reminder. I hear so many people feel like they're an imposter or that they're not qualified or they're not equipped to do what they have been called to do, where God is calling you, where you've been led to, the purpose that you have. And a lot of times when we get to that place, it usually happens because we feel like we're not seeing enough fruit, or we feel like we're not getting enough claps or enough accolades or enough rewards and recognition, or whatever it may be that you are seeing take place in your life. And it seems like everyone else might be ahead of you. And we've talked about comparisons and things, but I'm telling you right now, do not grow weary. If you know that you are doing what you have been called to do, if you know that you are in the good, because it also says, let us not grow weary in well doing. So it doesn't necessarily say, let us not grow weary and sitting back, or let us not grow weary in procrastination, or let us not grow weary in hesitation. But this is just a reminder to you that as you're doing good, keep doing it. You don't know the time, you don't know the date, you don't know when that elevation is going to come. And I've shared this with you several times throughout the Bible. We see where, like Joseph, for instance, in a matter of days, he was elevated to the next in command. I think about Daniel when he abstained from the king's delicacies and eventually ended up being elevated and coming out better on the other side than those who had been eating and trying to fit in that way. And so for many of you, it may not look like everything is coming together in the timing that you expect it, but God's timing is so perfect. So do not grow weary. This message today, like I said, it's going to be short, but just a moment of encouragement for you today to not give up, stay the course. I've shared this often as well, but I remember having a conversation with my sister, and I was in that place of weary. I was in that place of, you know what, I'm about to give up. I was getting ready to fly across the US. I had an event coming up, and everything that could come up against me doing this event, I felt like so many things were coming. And I asked her, like, how do you know when it's a sign to just quit? How do you know when it's a sign that these doors are closing? And her response to me was like, have you conquered all? You have to understand when it's time to fight and when it's time to flee. And when God has given you a promise and given you clarity and given you a vision and given you provision, even if it's not to the level that you're expecting in this moment, if you've had provision in that area, God is blessing it and continuing to give you clarity and insight, and you get that through seeking him on a daily basis. That is when it's sometimes you're assigned to fight for it, to not just sit back, to not just sit down, to not just give up on the vision, to not just say, oh, well, things aren't going how I expected. I'm encouraging you right now to experience this renewal of your mind, this mindset shift, this understanding that we have to build our faith in these areas, because if not, it's going to be so easy to get distracted. It's going to be so easy to let the worries and the cares of this world get you off track. It's going to be so easy to be so submerged with the news and tragedies going on and all of the things happening around us that you take your eyes off of where God is calling you to be, in who God is calling you to be, and take your eyes off of being that light. I do believe that God really truly has put it in us to be that light. And we know that verse, let your light so shine before men that they'll see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. So if you're watching this and you're wondering, why am I always quoting scripture? Why am I always sharing it in this way? Because I can give you all the strategy on earth, but my goal is never to point you to me, because what I know and what I've seen in my own life is that we're human. Like, people fluctuate. They might be, I could be hyped today and got you encouraged, and then tomorrow I need your I need you to come in and encourage me. And so it's so important that whenever you do align with something and you're standing on it, that is something that's sustainable. And God is the same yesterday as he is today, as he is tomorrow. And so if you can understand that Galatians 6:9 today, to not give up, to not grow weary, if you know that your steps are ordered, today is that reigniting. I'm telling you right now, I've experienced it. I'm walking in it. I'm truly just experiencing this right now, that any day that you decide that you are not going to rely on anything outside of yourself, in the sense of not relying on God, but pointing the finger at whoever upset you today, or pointing the finger at whatever opportunity you may have missed 6 months ago or 10 years ago, or pointing the finger at how they treated you on the job, or pointing the finger at how that business idea failed, or pointing the finger at how your children are acting out so you can't stay focused, or pointing the finger at your spouse, or pointing the finger at your family members, or pointing the finger at whoever you can point the finger at. You are giving up the power and the authority that you have today to walk into your purpose, to walk into your divinely orchestrated destiny in this season. And it's time to get up. It's time to not get weary. It's time to go back to the original vision. It's time to get quiet if you need to. If you've been surrounded by distractions, if you've been surrounded by overwhelm and frustration and anxiety and all these things that can get us off course, it's time to get back to the basics. And the basics is, we're not going to grow weary. We're going to do well. And we know that in due season, we're going to reap. Psalm 1 is another verse that I love, because it just reminds us that we have the ability, the power, and the authority to be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that will bear fruit in its season. And when you can perceive the season, whether you're in a season of rest, whether you're in a season of running, whether you're in a season of just clarity coming from every side, or you're just in a season of patiently listening to instructions and obedience, whatever that season is, understand that you're going to bear fruit. That is a promise. And it's time to start speaking and declaring and standing on God's promises so that you can show up. We can't help other people if we're out for the count. Every time people come around you, the day gets worse just because they interacted with you. And that's convicting to all of us. And it's not saying that you have to be void of emotion and challenges and everything. But I know that if you're called to the messages that I'm sharing, if you've been connected with this channel, if you've been watching me, then there is something greater in store for you. There is something that lights you up. There's a vision that you've been given. There's a way that you're going to impact your family lineage. You're going to impact the people around you. You're going to impact your community. And so the biggest delay that can come is that we get weary and we start questioning and we start complaining. And we start worrying about whether or not God even cares or whether or not God hears us. And I've just gotten so much confirmation on this, to not grow weary. And the moment that you decide that you're going to continue from that stature, from that place of doing good, from that place of doing well, from that place of being consistent and showing up, I promise you, it is in your hands to choose the expiration date. It's so beautiful. It's so amazing. It's so encouraging to me when I think about that story that I share all the time about the woman with the vessels. And even when I think about the woman with the issue of blood, these are people that got tired of being tired. And when you get to that place where you're tired of being tired and you say, no more, I'm not going to sit here and just accept the status quo. I'm not just going to sit here and let life happen to me. It's time for me to get up. It's time for me to walk in authority. It's time for me to walk in power. And if you missed my message where I talked about being a swan, it's time for you to get around people that are doing the same thing. It's time for you to be that for other people, because it's too easy. It's too easy in the society and the world that we live in to get distracted. It's too easy to get down and out. It's too easy to meditate and marinate on things that will never affect you in your lifetime. If you've ever lost someone that you love, I think about when my mom passed away. That was so sobering for me, because her lifetime, what she experienced in that lifetime was what she experienced. And it made me think about issues and things that we may worry about and things that we may marinate on, or you may be stuck in celebrity gossip or worried about people who you'll never interact with for the rest of your life. Some of these people you're never going to interact with them. They're never going to affect not even an inkling of your life, to give it that much attention, that much energy, and allow it to stop you from staying the course for where God has called you. So that's my message for you all today. I just wanted to come in and encourage you to not grow weary. Do not give up. You have made it too far. You still have an opportunity to finish strong. And then when you finish that area strong, God's going to reveal to you the next step. And so you can't jump to step 10 if you're not willing to be obedient in step 2, take care of step 3, work on step 4, execute in step 5, and get to step 10, 11, 12, and the list goes on, because every day that you wake up is an opportunity for God to use you. It's an opportunity for you to grow. And I remember also my great grandmother. I remember my mom telling me this story. My great grandmother, who basically, she said that when you stop growing, there's literally no purpose for living. When you stop taking each day in as a lesson learned, as an opportunity to do more, to be more, to show up more, there's no purpose. And this is not like encouraging you all to get out of the place of purpose. It's to encourage you to know that it's no coincidence that you are still here. It's no coincidence that you're hearing this message. It's no coincidence the ideas that you have, the vision that you've been given. So I'm encouraging you today to not grow weary. If this message encouraged you, tell someone, tag someone, share this. You can stay connected with me across social media at Erica Empowers. And I also want to invite you to my next upcoming live event. You can go to amplifyherlive.com to get access. And I have a free giveaway. So this is very exciting to me. If you are interested in learning how you can get a free ticket to this live event, you can email me at info@ericalatrice.com, and I'll see you in the next video.